So while I was home, I realized I was being keylogged. 39%, I don't know what that means. I didn't use my computer very much because I was literally being set up to be basically broken down. The breakdown's his favorite part, he said. So he kept me in New Mexico for a long time, but he's gonna break me down when I get home. And Z, when they took their spyware off my computer, she said it's worse than clown coffee. I don't know what clown coffee is. I don't know why you were on my computer either. I don't know. Didn't want to be part of any of it. But they literally have followed me I'm not joking. Like right now I'm sitting in the parking lot. I heard 2 cars park. They're probably from a strip club. They've been basically playing a strip club game since COVID. So imagine you are quarantined and a bunch of people from the strip club want to get their reputation back. So they harass one female that used to be a security system for them. 300 strip clubs across the country. 300 of them. And the ones at home I would never go to, but I frequented some. I provided safe transport and security, but they wanted the jobs. So they have literally followed, robbed, and harassed me everywhere I go. My Aunt Lucy wanted to do a racial something. Oswego was racial. It was so very much not okay for me because I was not. And I did not realize half of the things that were happening around me. Not only was I put in the middle of a race war, but I couldn't even go to a rap concert without them chaining the door and burning the building down. Literally with us chained inside. So then this moves on to a rap concert. Or contest. So I'm in the middle of a bunch of people who were racial, very, and I was not aware because I was a deaf idiot, as they called me. But they now are doing a rap contest. And these people, Hunt, you want to talk about the Sterling Nature Center? Let's make some jokes, folks. The things that I knew about what happened in the woods of New York, I never would have talked about out loud. And if you say you're a survivor, half the time that means there's someone out there that wants to kill you. And so making a huge deal out of it because they want to show, and all of them are journalists or want to be on TV. Everyone in my family did. I didn't want to be. I wanted to keep working, and there's a reason public health was the thing that I was focused on. And unfortunately, I spent 4 months in a tank doing SARS testing. So when you say she came, she saw, she conquered in college, I say, I want to fix that. And so when the flu breaks out again, they want my immunities. 4 of the girls that I tested with are gone, so that's cool. And I've been fucking chased around by whoever wants to fucking be on the calendar system. Apparently they have. I don't care if you're following me around. I don't care if you're stalking me on the internet. I never actually cared about that at all. I don't know how that even became a thing that has a calendar system. I do care if you touch me while I'm sleeping. I care if you come into my home. I care if you put a camera in my shower and harass me for years, which they have done. I care if there's a camera in my car. I care if you hack my phone and turn it off, because the Sprint store here I went to, it's on Speedway, it's now T-Mobile. I suggest picking a different store because my phone did not work and I was doing Border Patrol stuff. It was very dangerous and it definitely delayed my progress drastically, which was done on purpose. I don't mind if my tires are popped in Mexico and I have to go get new tires because they throw them down the middle of the road. I don't really care what happens, but it's had a purpose. Every minute of being in Tucson has been nothing but a waste of time. I can't even get a job because they wanted to make sure I got blacklisted because I'm not okay with them drowning children at Verde apartment buildings, where I had already been and didn't remember, unfortunately. It's near a mall. It's always going to be dangerous near a mall. But that's a reason that I'm getting judged, because I can't handle even being near that. So it's still going on. And my parents will talk to all of the other people, my whole family actually apparently, has talked to all of the people who would help me. Even at a domestic violence place, because my ex-boyfriend is part of this, they stood outside the window. I went up the coast to get away from them. They followed me the whole way. I tried to stay at a domestic violence shelter because my ex-boyfriend was part of it. All of the people staying there, because someone set this up, were women I had been held hostage with on the border. Or, in 3rd grade, Mrs. Sunshine, she was my substitute teacher. She was there somehow. So it was all just basically re-traumatization and showing me that you knew where these people were and didn't care until it could be totally fucked up. I went missing in 3rd grade. And she was part of that. So Joe Carter next door trimming a tree was really great. And the Stevens family, okay, these are people I've been supportive of my whole life. I literally, before I left Denver, would have probably taken a bullet for Victoria Stevens or Mick Meeking. She wanted me to die. She was betting on my suicide next door with all the other girls. I love gambling. It's fun. But when I have to die and someone walks by the garage and says, kill yourself, I bet on today. I'm like, do you see the box on the top of the garage? That's something they've done all of my life. But the last guy killed himself in the garage next to me. And I wanted to go to the library and find out how many people had killed themselves in that apartment, which would be bad because, but I've been trained in the apartment as a child. And there are these things called windows that were used for nurseries. Having Ralph Barr in one of them, which I guess he can share, and that's like basically creating the biggest nightmare possible. The Neisers like my pedigree. Did you know that children that are tortured usually have protection for the rest of their lives from the FBI, but somehow the federal government has forgotten to do that, much like the girls who were in the Nassar case, who were completely and totally looked over and completely not shown any of the attention they should have been given. The Nassar case should have included surgeons that literally prevent you from moving. They are so sadistic, and they didn't include any of that. Some of those girls will never walk again. Some of those girls will never even know where they are because they experimented on ones that didn't have passports. And those girls worked so fucking hard and gave up so much because they wanted to win. But what I saw was just a little fluff, right? And Rainier being out here. I don't remember knowing Rainier. I remember on my way. But he's in the prison system out here in Tucson, which apparently I don't know how that affects me, but it does. I don't know anything about Scientology. When you enter a program and get protection, you don't remember before. I used to actually literally study this. You don't remember the things that actually would get you killed. And they are literally putting these ideas or these stories out there because they were part of them. When I picked up kids for UNICEF, you don't want them to have a name to tell someone. You don't want them to remember where they were or anything like that. Because when that person finds them and they still remember them, they don't like that. Going to Oregon and having a stranger walk up to me and say that I'm in witness protection and I lived in Oregon as a child. So the government's doing a great job. I mean, I didn't even know I'd ever been to Oregon. That's how erased I am. So they can fill in the blanks however they want. This is what they do in some women. They literally train them and then wipe them. So I used to go pick them up. I used to pick up what I guess New Mexico calls the trash. The women that no one would notice are missing, that have lost their memory almost completely and are literally in the middle of the woods and have no idea how they got there. I love that trash. It's worth going to get. And when you unbrainwash them or give them the time to remember who they are, it's pretty amazing. You just have that, first question, what's your favorite color? And then from then on, they start to figure out who they are. Because I had to do that a couple times. I know this to be true. I'd have 3 things every time because I knew they were true. Because I was being lied to. Anyway, it's raining. That's awesome. I'm going to go to the pharmacy, which has been my medication, I think is in Mesa still. Para and Carlson, thank you so much. I wish I was a Republican out here. But I'm not. And I worked with the Democratic Party a lot in Denver, so I was targeted by the Republican Party a lot. I miss Obama. Mom took him off the wall, and I almost cried because that meant that our area was not going to be as supported. He taught me how to stand by my decision, and then I could actually have confidence and be who I was. It was actually some of the most life-changing experiences of my entire life I'll ever have. And the thing is, I'll never talk about it to anyone. I never want to because it's mine. But being shown that you are worthy of having an opinion, you are worthy of being a person that actually, hey, I'm not just a walkie-talkie. I'm not someone you can use to insult other people for. You want to make fun of people who are deaf? I'm going to write every deaf school in the area and tell them you're hacking hearing aids. Because I can't not do something about that when it's funny to abuse deaf people. It's really a change in humor. So, the frequencies they've been torturing me with are awful. And I was not delayed. I could listen, process, and respond very quickly and easily. And that was the problem. I wasn't damaged. I didn't hold onto a virus. I looked too nice. I bounced back too quickly. I, at least one time, with these women, had to wear a bodysuit for a year because they were so vicious that I would be force-fed every night. And we're talking about women who will break down your metabolism. I'm not bothering you. I'm happy for you. Why is there a tube down my throat? I don't understand. But I also don't like being impersonated, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much they were on the phone. I haven't talked to anyone since 2014, other than the people following me around, and most of it has involved things like developmental medication that they dug up. That doesn't exist anymore, and it's for, basically making you brain dead. So for 7 months, I wasn't in my body. That was a good start. Not there. They stand next to me and shake me to make sure I didn't respond. And I know a lot about pharmaceutical comas, along with pharmaceutically taking charge of your partner. And I have seen that so many times and experienced it myself before I left Denver. When someone has medication that is medically necessary and your partner decides to take that away and replace it with something else, they're the ultimate decision maker. And your brain chemistry changes so much that you can't remember where you are. That's happened too much. And now I have someone following me around from when I went to college who has been injecting acid into my skull. Here, and here on my hip. I don't take acid because of college. And when I got to Oswego, I called it surprise acid. Because I was on acid for so long and had no idea. This is a person you should not be around if you have any problem with hallucinogenics. And I do not like looking for injection marks on my body when I wake up. It increases fear. So when you are being abused, you are terrified. And it drains your adrenal. Not to mention, makes it so you are just focused on that one thing. And then when you have your fight or flight response, you don't know what to do. I always watch people because I always worried, okay, you're going to have extra fear, so you're going to respond differently. Because I have done that on and off my entire life. I don't drink because I'm afraid of that. And they can laugh at it. They have been. It's so funny watching someone freak out that is being abused on acid, I guess. No, it's better. I don't know. I don't know anymore because that's been my life. But watching you put people down and making that a joke, when your child goes missing and is drugged and you think about what you made a joke out of, I don't understand. But I'm being exploited massively. And especially since I used to go and I was trained really well by a woman named Nadine in Denver to go in and make sure women were healthy. So I would go into a lot of places other people didn't, and I was trustworthy. And I was able to perform small surgical procedures. I was able to make sure that they were not going to have infection, because you're already in a place you don't want to be. You want to be sick too? No. So that was, to me, who has been prevented from having medical care many times in my life, amazing to experience. In Tucson, I hope they can improve it. But, yeah, it's a really fun topic, I guess. But they have made human trafficking a huge deal. You know who doesn't want that? Anyone in that business. You're not helping, you're hurting. Unless you're trained. Even though it's really good to talk about, I guess. But literally, the girls that I used to work with were gone after that happened. Anyway, I wanted to do public health my whole life. And I've seen amazing medical procedures that have literally blown my mind. I love that going forward, not backwards. And I feel like we're going way backwards. I mean, even the Theranos pill, that girl was totally, completely set up. That pill worked like a miracle pill. I mean, I guess you wouldn't have insulin around as much, but that was amazing. And hopefully they can figure out how to actually make that work out somehow, because I'm fairly sure that somebody hacked that and she was completely fucked over. She made something and worked on something that could have changed the face of blood. Anyway, there's my rant for the evening. Oh, and also I'm staying at a casita where literally the girl fell on the driveway, and I was there for, I mean, I can't remember. I have an amnesia, literal amnesia that I've been diagnosed with. So, making it worse, I can't believe it. But they made a game out of it at the bar down the road. That's terrifying. I stay away from drunk people because of this. I don't want you to beat me to death. Because the first time I was here, I literally was screaming out the window for help. They stood in the street and stared at me. Okay. Yowza. And when the FBI was literally, I mean, I was used as a toy in Denver, I guess, or like a tool, and taken to a restaurant that was for something, I could literally hear them backing off at the Subaru place across the street. I had plans, but they had plans too. I don't know why you can use humans as such like worthless tools and then just throw them away, but then they catch up. And in Denver, there was a huge marijuana war. Like literally, people lost their family members. So bringing attention to it, I mean, weed, it brings you a lot of places, but if you're not careful, it brings you to really bad ones.